I'll tell you what, I've watched plenty of twists on General Hospital over the years, but every once in a while, a storyline comes along that makes me stop and think, well, now this is getting mighty interesting. That's exactly how I felt watching everything unfold around Jocelyn. I know a lot of folks still see her as the young woman who always found herself caught in other people's messes, but lately I've been seeing someone who's making decisions that carry real weight. Whether those choices are right or wrong is another story, but there's no denying she stepped into a whole different world. When Jocelyn pulled that trigger and left WSB Director Ross Cullum badly wounded, I had a feeling we had crossed a line that nobody could simply walk back from. Cullum wasn't just another villain causing trouble. He had been hiding behind the badge of the WSB while secretly using its power for his own selfish games. In my eyes, that kind of betrayal is worse than an enemy attacking from the outside. As the old saying goes, the fox in the henhouse is always the one you have to fear the most. Watching Joss drag herself across the ground after being shot herself, forcing every last ounce of strength into reaching that gun, convinced me she wasn't acting out of panic. She believed she was ending a nightmare before it could hurt even more innocent people. What caught my attention even more was the way Z reacted after arriving at the scene. I couldn't help but notice the respect in his response. It wasn't just about surviving a dangerous mission. He saw someone who could make impossible decisions under pressure without freezing. That's the kind of thing powerful organizations never overlook. I've seen enough stories, both on television and in real life, to know that once someone higher up recognizes talent like that, they rarely let it slip away. It almost felt as though Jocelyn passed an invisible test that nobody warned her she was taking. Then came the part that really got me thinking. Joss agreed to shift the blame for the cold fusion disaster onto Cassius Faison so the WSB could avoid another public scandal after Cullum's reign of corruption. Now, I know some people will immediately call that dishonest, and they're not wrong, but life isn't always served up nice and clean on a silver platter. Sometimes every option leaves a stain on your hands. I found myself wondering whether Joss was protecting innocent agents who had nothing to do with Cullum's crimes, or whether she had already begun accepting the gray moral code that comes with being a spy. That question has been sitting in the back of my mind ever since. Of course, Joss wasn't giving away that favor for free. She wanted Jason Morgan and Valentine Cassadine released, and honestly, I can't blame her for trying. If you're going to bargain with the people running the world's most secretive intelligence agency, you'd better ask for something that actually matters. What fascinates me is that this negotiation may have impressed Z even more than the shooting itself. A person who can stay calm during a firefight is valuable. A person who can negotiate while everyone else is still recovering from the chaos is even more valuable. That's the sort of individual an intelligence chief keeps close. Meanwhile, poor Carly finds herself fighting a battle that feels painfully familiar. Any parent who has watched a son or daughter chase a dangerous career knows exactly where her heart is. She wants Jocelyn out of the WSB before the agency changes her forever. The heartbreaking part is that Joss doesn't seem interested in leaving anymore. That tells me this isn't just another temporary assignment. She's starting to believe she belongs there, and once somebody starts believing that, convincing them to walk away becomes twice as hard. Now we're heading into a showdown between Carly and Z, and I have to admit I'm looking forward to seeing every minute of it. Carly isn't the kind of woman who quietly accepts no for an answer, especially when her daughter is involved. But Z doesn't strike me as the type who surrenders control simply because someone demands it. From where I'm sitting, that's a collision waiting to happen, and neither side looks ready to blink first. The part that really made me raise an eyebrow was hearing that Z might actually flirt with Carly during their confrontation. Lord have mercy, talk about terrible timing. If he truly believes a little charm is going to soften Carly while she's trying to rescue her daughter, then he clearly hasn't been paying attention. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if that slap across his face ends up being the least painful consequence of underestimating her. Still, what makes this so intriguing is that the slap may not change how Z feels at all. If anything, he may respect Carly's fierce determination even more afterward. There's another layer to all of this that keeps nagging at me. Jocelyn's secret career was never supposed to become public, yet one unexpected chain of events pulled everything into the open after her mission at Five Poppies crossed paths with Jason. That's one thing I've always appreciated about General Hospital. Secrets rarely stay buried forever. No matter how carefully they're hidden, sooner or later they find their way into the daylight, usually at the worst possible moment. And that's why I can't shake the feeling that Z may tell Carly exactly what she wants to hear while quietly putting another plan into motion behind the scenes. Agreeing to release Jocelyn is one thing, Secretly assigning her to another mission right there in Port Charles would be something else entirely. If that happens, then Carly may think she's won the fight while the real game has only just begun. To me, that's exactly the kind of twist that keeps this story alive and leaves folks like me counting the days until the next episode. The more I think about what the writers have been teasing for the summer, the more convinced I become that this story isn't really about bullets, secret missions, or dangerous villains. Those things grab our attention, sure, but underneath all of that is something much more personal. It's about the price a person pays after making one decision that can't be taken back. When I heard that Joss would face Carly's opposition while committing herself to a lie that could have consequences for years, I immediately thought, now that's the kind of burden nobody escapes overnight. If Z really agrees to release Jason and Valentine, I have a hard time believing he'll do it out of kindness. Men in positions like his don't hand out favors without expecting something in return. That's just the way the world works. In my experience, every handshake has fine print somewhere. I can easily picture him looking at Joss and seeing an investment instead of just another young agent. After everything she accomplished against Cullum, why would he want to let someone that capable walk away? In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if he rewarded her instead. A promotion may sound surprising to some viewers, but when I look at everything she's done lately, it actually makes sense. She kept her composure under impossible pressure, protected the agency's reputation, negotiated for people she cared about, and proved she could think several steps ahead. Those aren't qualities that organizations like the WSB ignore. They reward them. The scary part is that every reward pulls her a little deeper into a life she may never completely escape. What worries me most isn't the missions themselves, it's the secrecy. That's where I think the real danger begins. Every day Joss stays with the WSB, she has to wake up knowing she'll probably hide another piece of the truth from Carly and everyone else she loves. At first, those lies may seem harmless. She tells herself she's protecting her family, then another secret comes along, then another. Before long, telling the truth starts feeling more frightening than telling another lie. I've seen people drift down that road before, and it rarely ends where they expect. That's why Carly's role in this story feels so important to me. She's fighting against an enemy she can't even see. She can't protect her daughter from classified files, secret orders, or hidden operations because she isn't allowed to know they exist. Imagine how helpless that must feel as a mother. She may sense something is wrong, but every answer she gets is only another carefully crafted excuse. To me, that's far more heartbreaking than any action scene the show could produce. And here's the question I keep asking myself. Joss has become remarkably good at lying, but is that really a skill worth celebrating? In the spy world, maybe it is. In ordinary life, not so much. The bigger the mission becomes, the bigger the lies become too. Eventually, somebody always gets hurt. Maybe it's the person being deceived. Maybe it's the one carrying the secret. Most of the time, it's both. I have a feeling the writers are building toward exactly that kind of emotional collision. The next assignment may look routine on the surface, but I don't believe it'll be simple for long. Every secret Joss protects will place another crack in the relationship she's trying so hard to preserve. Sooner or later, those cracks become impossible to hide. That's why I'll be watching these summer episodes very closely. Not because I'm waiting for another gunfight or another daring rescue, but because I want to see whether Joss can hold together two completely different lives without losing herself in the process. If you ask me, that's the real story now. The missions may come and go, but trust is much harder to rebuild once it's been broken. And once that happens, no secret agency in the world can fix what a lie leaves behind.